Okay, welcome to my next video. I'm going to real quick show you how to cook a chicken inside of a watermelon. So stay with us. This is a pretty easy recipe, and just wanted to share with you guys. Be right back. Okay, first, this is a Eastern traditional type of recipe. Asia and India kind of areas. First, I'm going to take my chicken, and I've got two chickens, but because we have a pretty large family, I'm going to take my chickens and I'm going to cut them into pieces, and then I'm going to put them in a bowl and get them spiced up. So I'm going to first cut it up, the chicken, and then I'll show you what that looks like inside the bowl. Okay, so I cut up all my chicken here. I took the necks out of the centers. I took the breast and I cut it into 3 pieces. I left most of the skin on, but some of the skin I cut off because I want some of the skin to have the flavor, but I don't necessarily want it to have all the oil and stuff in it. So I did leave the backs in here for flavor. So the legs are separated from the thighs. So they're just chunked up pieces here. So I'm gonna add now my spices. So let me get my hands clean. I'll be right back. Okay, so far, after cleaning and sterilizing my board here to cut my vegetables, I'm adding onions. This is 2 medium onions. This is about 6 portobello, baby portobello mushrooms. This is just 4 little slices of, this one's kind of put together, but 4 little slices of candied ginger. So I'm just going to slice those. Just throw it in. And about 2 cups of, this is just regular Greek yogurt. This is just 1 regular lemon, with the rinds, just the ends cut off, and just sprinkle them in. Okay, so about a teaspoon of garlic salt. If you want it more garlicky, you can add more garlic to it. This, about a half a teaspoon of, this is seaweed salt. I had found that if you add seaweed to things that make a broth out of what you're doing, it usually blends the flavors a little bit better. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cinnamon. 2 tablespoons of curry blend powder. This is just fennel seed. I'm going to throw in about a half teaspoon of that. And this is just star anise or star anise. I'm just going to throw in 2 of those. This is my Himalayan sea salt and black lava salt blend. So just to taste on this will have a lot of water coming out of the chicken, so you want to be able to have a little extra salt. Make sure it penetrates well. And then this is just the blend of peppercorn blend that you can buy. It's like got green, yellow, and red and black peppercorns in it, just to taste. Okay, so we'll get that stirred up. and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we have it blended up here. I forgot to add about a half teaspoon of ground clove. I'm just going to add a little more curry powder. We like ours kind of a little stronger with the curry flavor. So we'll get this, let me get it all mixed up again. Okay, we got that blended in. It has a very nice smell, so we're going to set this aside and get our area cleaned up, and then we'll start on the watermelon while this marinates a little bit. Okay, so we want to first find where we want the bottom to be. So just like this, pick this side here, and I'm just gonna kind of just shave off just a small little piece here so it will just be a little bit more stable. So once we find that, we're going to make our lid. Okay, so we got about it right. So now we're going to hull out all of the center. Nice seedy watermelon. I will get that done and I will show you what it looks like after that. Okay, so you can see that we got the watermelon all hollowed out. Nice large bowl of watermelon that we'll set aside. So we got as much, or I got as much as the red out. I just left a little bit in, and then we hollowed out the lid. So next we're going to take our chicken. Sure you can see that, okay. I'll get my gloves on here. Okay, got my gloves on now. So we're just going to take our chicken chunks and just set them in here. Just make sure they have a nice marinade on them. Okay, so not really necessarily putting any certain cut of meat anywhere. It should cook entirely through over the cooking time, so I'll put the back on top, the backs. Those kind of just kind of sit them in there. That wing didn't get quite coated, so. Now once the, that's the thing about cutting them up, is that once you kind of, when it starts cooking, the water as it boils, or starting to, will kind of move around them and cook them a little bit better than if they were whole. There is a recipe that calls for it to be whole, but just because we're using two and it's hard to fit in an odd shape watermelon, two whole chickens, so we're just going to cut it up. If you like Indian spices, you can tell this is going to have a lot of good Indian spices in it, or Eastern spices, so I'll get all that in there. Okay. We're going to take our lid now, just set it on top. I'm going to get some toothpicks, and then we'll kind of pin it together and nail her shut. So
Okay, right back.
So we have our toothpicks here. It's always best to get these like more round ones than the like square ones, because these are just seem to be a little more dense. Just gonna start it corner, and this will hold the sides in. Now it'll move around a little bit after it cooks, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna just want it enough to keep that sealed on. Some recipes look like they had taken some sort of dough, just like a basic dough mixture, and sealed it up with that, just to make sure that the steam and all the flavor stayed inside. So it's up to you how many of these you want to put in. I'm just going to put in, I don't know, enough to, there's where the jagged start. So you can again reduce this recipe into a smaller, watermelon. You can do little individual ones if you want to cut them up and have, like, if you want to have a dinner party for 4 or 5 people, you can buy those little single watermelons and haul them out and use them, like a bread bowl. You can. Now, once it cooks, this hull rind or won't look great, but it is a interesting way of cooking it. When you don't have a bowl or any way of baking stuff, and then in some areas of the country they would just set these right on the fire and cook their meat in it, kind of like they would a bamboo log or something, and then they would just take it out and serve it on a plate. So this is a very interesting way of cooking if you don't have a good way of cooking in the middle of, if you're camping, or if you're having to live off the land, or having some no means of cooking like a Dutch oven. Then this would be at least one way of quick and easily cooking and pitching it. And there's really no cleanup after you take it out of here. Pan wise, your presentation pan, you would. But I'm going to keep it in this just to make sure that when the juices run, they stay contained and not all over the oven. So I'm going to go bake this for 2 hours on 350, and then I'll show you what it looks like then, and then I will increase the temperature, and I'll show you that then. So stay with me. So it's been about 1 hour and 40 minutes, so you can see that it's starting to pull apart, starting to discolor a little bit. So we're going to continue it at, I said 350, but I meant 400. So we're going to continue it at 400 for another hour and a half and check and see what it looks like then. So it should bake between 4 and 5 hours, depending on how much you've baked, or how much chicken you have, and the density, and how much it moves around. So after about 3 hours, I'm going to stir it around and see what it looks like inside. So okay, so this has been cooking 3 hours now. As you can see, the frame of it has shriveled up quite a bit. We're going to open it right now. Okay. See, the chicken is cooked well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just take our chicken and kind of just set it in the side here in the juice. Move this over. Flip it all over me. Okay, so just kind of, we need to take some of the juice and put it over into this pot. You can see it's cooked it all the way through, really good. So I'm just trying to make a little bowl over here. Okay, so I went and got a strainer here just to, let's see here, just to drain the juice in. We don't need all of it. We just need enough to make a sauce. So we'll put a couple cups in here and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I flipped this thing over so I could try to get the rind out. So I wanted to get all the chicken into the pan here. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I just want to kind of put it out a little bit, spread it out a little bit. It's already cooked all the way through, as you can see. But this way I can keep it in the oven hot while I'm reducing the broth here. So we will put this back in the oven just to keep it warm. And then we'll take our broth here and we're going to put about let's say 2 tablespoons of butter in it. I'll probably take a little spoon and spoon off some of the oil off the top and from the fat of the chicken, and then we'll reduce this. But right now I'm just going to put it on the stove to reduce it. So I'll show you what it looks like. Let this reduce about 20 minutes. I did add 3 tablespoons of butter. You can kind of see it a little yellow on the top there. I did also add another little chunk of crystallized ginger. So we just like ours a little ginger. You don't have to do that, but that's what we did. So it doesn't really turn it into a thick like sauce. It's still just a broth. And we will just drizzle this over the chicken and the rice, and I will plate it up and I'll show you what it looks like. Right back. Okay, here is the plated version. We have the broth drizzled over the rice. You can actually put this over there, and if you want you can add cornstarch to it to make it more like a gravy than a sauce, but this way you can just dip it in. We have the cold watermelon, so you have the spiciness, but then you have the sweet along with it. The rice again blends it together, but this is really fairly easy, quick. I mean, most of the time is taken by baking, but a lot of your long-term crock-pot meals and stuff like that require that long too. So please comment and share and let me know what you think of it and if you've tried it, and I will see you in the next video.